up, but the main guy that's not stepping up is Ben Simmons. He
Yeah.
is billed as the second star. They gave him that contract because they expected him to be the second star. He was supposed to be LeBron light, essentially. And during the series, he's averaging 11 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. He's shooting 33% from the line. So, and during the ends of these games, a lot of times he's unplayable. They
Yeah.
have to take him out on offensive possessions because they're so scared of him getting fouled.
Let me put you on game.
Topics. Let's just cover Philly and ATL really
Yeah.
quickly. Also a very intriguing series just because of the developments. As someone who lives in Atlanta, it's kind of crazy to think that the Hawks could actually go to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is insane when you consider
Yeah.
everything that they've been through over the last couple of years as being such a bad team. We had a conversation really early in the pod about whether or not they actually rushed their rebuild, which is crazy to think about now because I thought they did. I thought they pushed their chips in too early, but it turns out that it was the right decision because I thought they were going to be first round and out at best. But
Yeah.
it turns out that they have a legit chance because of how effective and how game changing Trae Young is. Uh, Joel Embiid is a really great player. He's I know you want so bad for him to be the MVP, even though he wasn't this year. But I they brought it up on the mismatch the other day when I was listening and watching the games and watching his career. I have to agree that I just don't think that while as great as he is, he's not dependable from game to game. Not necessarily because of his talent or his mentality, but because of his body. Like
Mm.
he's just not able to give it his all on every possession, especially during these second halves. He's been abysmal in terms of turnovers and field goal percentage during the second half because he's just winded, he's exhausted, he's hurt. So it's just a struggle for him in the second half, but that's kind of been the struggle of his career for the most part. Because when he's on, he's on. When he's on, he looks like one of the best centers to ever play basketball. But
Yeah.
that on is not as on as many other great centers in the past. So that's what we talk about, him needing help, him needing someone to flank him and be that guy that can also get their own offense. And sometimes that's Tobias Harris. He's going to give you his 20 points, but you also need more from other guys. And you see guys like Seth Curry stepping up, but the main guy that's not stepping up is Ben Simmons. He
Yeah.
is billed as the second star. They gave him that contract because they expected him to be the second star. He was supposed to be LeBron light, essentially. And during the series, he's averaging 11 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. He's shooting 33% from the line. So, and during the ends of these games, a lot of times he's unplayable. They
Yeah.
have to take him out on offensive possessions because they're so scared of him getting fouled. And
Yeah.
when that's like one of your best players and it's not a dominant player like Shaq, like, yeah, Shaq might have gotten taken out of certain games or he might have been frustrating in terms of his free throw shooting, but he was also giving you 38 and 17. So his free
Yeah.
throw shooting was just like, you can't be perfect. But like with Ben Simmons, it's such a crucial part of his game because if he was actually a good free throw shooter, that allows him to be more offensively aggressive. And I think some of the hesitancy that you see from him is just him not being able to go to the line and be effective. So yeah, it's a bundle of just crap, to be honest, with Philadelphia. They've got some
Yeah.
soul searching to do if they lose because they definitely, that's another team. Utah, Milwaukee, and Philly are teams that should not have lost. So we'll see which teams actually come through. But yeah, they definitely should not be losing to this Hawks team, but they are. But yeah, I want to get what's your thoughts on Philly and Atlanta?
I mean, Embiid is putting up 30, 13, and 4. And it is tough to see because you have the other game, the game 5 late game situation where you have an opportunity to win or at least tie it up. And during the last couple possessions, Philadelphia just fell apart. And I got to give Doc Rivers a lot of credit for getting Philly this far, because on paper, the numbers add up for them to be an outstanding team, but you have to be so creative with your rotations. You have to be so creative with who you put in and out in what situations, and the way they try to mask Ben Simmons on offense. And at this point, Matisse Thybulle is more valuable in some ways on offense than Ben Simmons, because at least he can get you a couple threes that he'll take to make the defense at least pay attention and keep someone in the vicinity. With Ben Simmons, you got guys like backing up to the box and just saying, all right, what are you going to do from...
Do what you do, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, drive and kick as we just play the passing lanes and clog up the paint to prevent you from getting the shot that you want. Ben Simmons only has value on the fast break. And what's fascinating is that teams are just fouling on the fast break instead of letting him get off a layup or any kind of good shot. But
there was one point, like, before you finish your point, there was one point in the fourth quarter where I was watching the game. I want to say it was mid fourth quarter. I don't know if he took another one, but he had 4 shots. 4.
Yeah.
4 shots. Like, at some point he has to explore how he can be more effective offensively. There's news of him shooting with the wrong hand, apparently, or whatever is going on with that, or whatever is going on with his jumper, but he has to figure it out. Like, Philly's success going forward depends on it, because you can't hide and make these kind of contingencies. Like you said, these kinds of contingencies for your star player. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Seth Curry has been carrying them in the absence of a offensively potent Ben Simmons. He's shooting 59.6% from three. He's shooting for these 6 games. He shot 59.6% from three.
That's
he
insane.
Is balling.
I've never heard of a stat like that. That's crazy.
While averaging almost 22 points, he is balling out of control right now. And he is the spacing. I think when Danny Green went out, they just said, "Hey, Seth, just please, here are the keys. Do what you will." And he's looking like not a shadow of his brother, but a brother to be respected in his own right, between him and Steph. And I think Young deserves a lot of credit, as well as the GM for the Hawks, for assembling the team around Young that they've assembled, because they've really allowed him to, they just said, "Hey, we're going to give you a great pick and roll center, 2 lob threats between Capella and John Collins, and a bevy of wing shooters. Here are the keys, do with what you will." And Nate McMillan has really galvanized his troops and just put them in the best position to win, where they just do their thing every night. Trae Young gets his 30, gets his 10 plus assists. He's averaging, I think, 30 and 11 during this series. And is just they're just performing outstandingly well, and exposing all the flaws that Philadelphia has. And I'm just excited to see what happens during this game 7, to be honest. I chose Philly with or without Joel Embiid, and that was a big issue on my part, because with Embiid, all 6 of these games, Philly has not delivered. And so at this point, I think Philly can still win, but I think Philly will win if Simmons shoots above 50% from the free throw line during game 7.
That's quite a wager. That's a good wager.
Yeah. But Boban Bogdanovic not being there for game 7 is not a good thing for Atlanta. And they're going to need guys like Lou Will and Gallinari to really step up off the bench.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Trae's been transcendent, man. So he's been great. It's been his level, or his ability to adjust to the defense that they've been playing, because it looked like they had changed the series by guarding him with Simmons and Thybulle, but he's been able to find ways around that. And it's crazy to think that he's probably like what 5'11", and he's able to dominate an NBA playoff game with some of the best wing defenders in the league on him. So it's a
Yeah.
huge step for Trae Young. So it'll be interesting. My gut leans Atlanta, to be honest, in Game 7. But I mean, we'll have to see.